To what extent does the NRM slogan, protecting the gains, reflect political reality in Acholi? The slogan, protecting the gains, has become one of the most repeated political messages of the national resistance movement as NRM in Uganda. It implies that the government has achieved major social, economic, and political progress and now seeks to safeguard these accomplishments from reversal or disruption. Yet in Acholi sub-region, a place still healing from years of war and marginalization, the slogan carries mixed and often contested meanings. This essay examines to what extent the phrase protecting the gains aligns with the lived realities, political sentiments, and socio-economic conditions in Acholi. Historical context, from conflict to uncertain recovery. To assess the extent to which the slogan holds meaning, one must first recall Acholi's history under NRM rule. When the NRM took power in 1986, Uganda's north, especially Acholi, descended into violent insurgency led by the Lord's Resistance Army, LRA. For over 2 decades, Acholi became the epicenter of conflict, marked by mass displacement, abductions, and destruction of livelihoods. Over 90% of the rural population was forced into internally displaced persons camps. Against this background, the idea of gains seems remote. The people's immediate memories are not of gains, but of loss of land, education, and generations of potential. Nonetheless, since the end of the LRA insurgency around 2006, peace and security have gradually returned to Acholi. Roads such as Gulu to Kitgum and Gulu to Nimule have been reconstructed, new administrative units created, and some level of business revival has taken place. From the NRM's perspective, these developments represent tangible gains that must be protected. Yet the deeper question is whether these improvements are sufficient to transform a region that suffered prolonged neglect and trauma. Let's see political interpretation or continuity or stagnation. Politically, the slogan serves as a tool of continuity. Protecting the gains suggests that change might threaten stability. In Acholi, however, this narrative competes with a strong sense of political fatigue and skepticism toward the ruling party. Many Acholi leaders and citizens argue that protecting gains has been used to justify maintaining power rather than empowering citizens. During elections, NRM officials often highlight achievements such as rural electrification, peace restoration, and social service delivery. Yet, opposition politicians like Nobarmo previously, Udongo Tokangli, and others contend that these so-called gains are partial and unevenly distributed. To a large extent, the slogan functions more as a political defense than an invitation for honest assessment. It shields the government from deeper accountability by emphasizing what has been done rather than what remains undone. Moreover, Acholi's political consciousness is shaped by a history of exclusion. The war years created a perception that the region was punished for being politically opposed to the NRM. Even today, despite infrastructure improvements, many Acholi people feel that national development priorities continue to favor the South and West. Therefore, protecting the gains can sound like protecting someone else's achievements, not necessarily those that directly uplift Acholi livelihoods. Economic and social dimensions of the gains. Economically, Acholi remains among the poorest regions in Uganda. Agriculture, the mainstay of the economy, has not fully recovered. Issues such as land grabbing by Balalo herders, youth unemployment, and limited access to markets persist. While NRM programs like the Paris Development Model and Operation Wealth Creation are promoted as gains, many residents report challenges of corruption, mismanagement, and unequal access to the funds. To that extent, the slogan feels distant from everyday realities. Education and health have similarly mixed outcomes. Acholi has seen a rebuilding of schools and hospitals since the war, but the quality of services remains poor. Many teachers and medical staffs are underpaid, or unmotivated, while youth dropped out rates remain high. When the government talks of protecting the gains, many actually question whether the supposed gains have yet been achieved in the first place. Socially, the return to peace and the revival of a cultural life such as the Raka dances, Acholi, traditional and local governance institutions are most genuine gains to protect. Communities have rebuilt social trust and cultural pride after decades of disintegration. Yet even these social infrastructure are under threats. Land conflicts, alcohol abuse, and political polarization. Protecting such gains requires more than rhetoric. It needs inclusive development and genuine reconciliation. Ideological meaning, the politics of memory and gratitude. Ideologically, protecting the gains appeals to national memory. It frames the NRM as a liberator that ended chaos and restored order. In many parts of Uganda, that message resonates. But in Acholi, where the NRM period is remembered for suffering, the slogan carries irony. To what extent can people be asked to protect gains from an era they associate with displacement and violence? Still, a younger generation in Acholi shows more pragmatic attitudes. Many youths born after the war focus less on historical grievances and more on job creation, digital creativity and connectivity and opportunities. For them, protecting gains may mean protecting peace, however imperfect, and building it on secure, better future. This generational shift offers the NRM a narrow but real window of political relevance in Acholi, if only it translates slogans into visible action. In conclusion, a half-truth that needs action. In conclusion, to a limited extent, the slogan protecting the gains reflects certain realities in Acholi, mainly the preservation of peace and reconstruction of basic infrastructure. However, to a larger extent, it remains a political slogan more than a lived experience. The majority of Acholi people continue to grapple with underdevelopment, economic exclusion, and historical trauma that the NRM's message fails to fully acknowledge. Protecting the gains must first mean defining what those gains truly are and ensuring that Acholi people experience them in tangible, equitable ways. Without this grounding, the slogan risks becoming another echo of political self-praise rather than a genuine commitment to transformation.